Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Just making sure everything went out today. Because sometimes you just don't know. Just making sure everything went out today. Just check in. Sometimes. There we go. Hello, everyone. Give me some hearts. I'm going to just see what happens when I give hearts. Yeah. So come on in. Whoop. There we go. Notifications are going out now. A little bit. Couple minutes after up. Come on in. Whoop, there we go. Notifications are going out now. A little bit. Where did that? So craziness. Couple minutes after up. Whoop, there we go. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hey, happy Friday, Raylene. Thank you for joining me. Wasn't sure if everybody's getting the notifications or what's going on, but that's okay. I was waiting. You're waiting for me. Yes. Streams of thoughts were coming in. I mean, you were with me this morning on for the meditation, and I could have gone on. I really had to stop my guides this morning and say, hey, we gotta do what we gotta do. So this morning, I mean, I kept seeing the game of Risk, and I was talking to my meditation group about the game of Risk. Now, if you've never played the game, I had my eldest boy, Dom, loved Risk. He was very good at it, actually. And he was very good at playing the game and figuring out different angles. Like he was, we'd get, when you play with him, you'd get angry. It's like, you're cheating. He goes, no, I'm reading the board. That's what he's doing. I'm reading the board. I'm reading and I'm seeing how, and he goes through reading the board. I can see how other people are going to make the moves or what they're lacking or what they need. Now in elementary, I think it was in elementary anyways, elementary here is like from grade 1 to 7 or something. And, I think it was in grade 6. There's a few times, I think even in junior high, like 8, 9, and 10, we did sort of scenarios. And you would do a scenario in the classroom and you would set up as different countries. And you'd make, a name for your country and what your country would be named and the resources that you would have or what are the resources you wanted. And then negotiations would come up and how maybe the negotiations wouldn't go as well or how war would break out because you decided not to give them those resources and the other place needs those resources. So we would do scenarios like that. And I was thinking and I was sort of bringing this energy in on what the astrology has been showing us and especially since last year. Now, last year I said we're under, there's a spell being cast. And if you haven't figured out what the spell is yet, well, I don't want to spoil it for you. If you haven't figured out what the spell is that has been placed or that we've been under for a while and it still sort of trickles in and out, we're still under it. And so there's this spell. And whenever Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn are together, that's world domination, right? And world domination came in, and that, when they were together before in a similar scenario, that was in the 12th century, and the world domination was the church and the church coming in. And this is where I want people to start to begin to be aware of, to begin to take a look at what's going on. And we're seeing things, being brought upon us. Now, this doesn't happen overnight. This just didn't happen in 2012, like poof, all this stuff is happening. No, this has been going on for several years. There's been several years that things have been being shown to you over and over and over again, and you start to see them over and over and over again, and then they it's kind of like an indoctrination of you. You get indoctrinated to it. some of those things would be tiny houses. Like tiny houses have been on the scene for a while, and people going into tiny houses and how cool it would be to have a tiny house and getting a tiny house built. And I always thought they were kind of cute, but for me, I think I'd get claustrophobic. Like where I'm living now is the smallest I could live. Because even here, I live in a half a duplex. It's still, it's small, right? And I have to admit, I like to have space. I like to have more space. So I know this is part of me, and I'm honoring that I need to have something with more space. A tiny, and people say, well, you got your backyard and you got this. And I'm like, you know what? I love nature, but you know what I don't love is bugs. I really don't like bugs. Like I understand we need bugs. We need that. I love the beach, but I don't like bugs, so I like to be able to go out and sit where I'm not going to be eaten alive. So that's why I like to have space where I can move around and, have my little space. Anyways, so going back off on a tangent. So this is where I've seen different things being implemented. When I worked, say 10 years ago at 10 years ago, holy shit, at Community Natural Foods. And when I was there was, to be a vegan, vegan was very difficult. Like, especially, there to find the foods and the concepts and everything else. And then it's slowly like this has been was the trend. And it was movies coming out on how slaughterhouses work, how chickens are raised, free range chickens, pigs and everything else. So all of this, about the market started coming in and really bashing them, because honestly, if anybody who's worked with farmers, and especially cattle ranchers or pig farmers, they have respect for their animals, because their animals are worth thousands of dollars, even $5,000 to $10,000. So they're not going to treat their animals like shit. In fact, some of their animals are treated like very well. And same with pig farmers. Now, if you've ever raised pigs, you got to know that pigs have to have a clean pen. Their pen has to be, well kept. And even in slaughtering pigs, it has to be done in a certain way. So the meat doesn't get tainted. So there's a respect in how things are, especially with things that are being done professionally. Now, I know with some people who are vegetarian and vegan and they want to keep, loving the animals and everything else, wonderful. I love animals too. But I also know that everything has a place. And I also understand that there's a lot of propaganda that comes out in order to change your mind in thinking a certain way. And that's where they're coming in with byproducts or fake meat, I'm going to call it. Now, when all of this is starting to come out, a lot of people don't understand the back end. When I start noticing that my product, say pears, canned pears. So you go and you buy Dole canned pears. Where is it packaged? And why is it packaged in certain countries? Like, why isn't that packaged here? If the pear is from Canada, the United States, why isn't it packaged here? Same with when you look at some of the meat byproducts, they're not packaged in Canada. Where are they packaged? Read the labels. And then if they're using a soy product, do you know how much chemicals are put on soy and the process of growing soy, and how soy has actually destroyed a lot of the land because of the process of growing it? So these are things that a lot of this that's coming forward, people are like, yeah, it's better for the environment. But is it really? Like saying to Alberta that we are supposed to be on we're supposed to have electric cars by 2030, 2025 in California. Now, they're already talking about the excess use of energy. And this year for us here in Calgary, because we've been having very high heat temperatures, we average around 25 degrees in the summertime, which is around the mid 70s, right? 80s. Right now, we're up into the 90s and even further. What does that mean for the electrical system and air conditioning or keeping your fan on all the time and things along that line? Because in comes rollouts with power. Now, if you have to have an electric car, right? Better for the environment, but not for our bodies. No. Well, listen to me. If what, soy products are better for for your body? No, not really. Because for a lot of people, that's harder to digest. Pea protein is one of the hardest proteins for people to digest and within the intestinals. Not everything is good for every body. And so when people are looking at vegetarian or vegan, it's been a program that has been coming in for some time on training. Oh, you're being sarcastic. Okay, sorry, Holly. This is just, it's right. This energy that's coming in or this propaganda that's being shown to us. And we have to be able to take a step back and be objective about it. And same with electric cars. Now, electric cars is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful concept, right? It sounds like really good. But you have to, in order for your car to be plugged in all the time, the system has to be upgraded. And the next thing I'm thinking, where the hell do these batteries go? Because even for car batteries, once a car battery goes, you got to take them to a station or take them someplace because of the battery acid. And you don't want the battery acid going into the ground, because what will happen is that it destroys the ground. It destroys the earth. There's a waste product. Now, within the having an electric car, the waste product is lithium. Lithium is very difficult you have to mine it, and it's very difficult to find. The greatest amounts of lithium are in China. So China owns a huge deal. Now we have, solar power. And I'm thinking of all of these people that want to go off grid. And I think, great, go off grid. Yet they're using solar panels. Solar panels are actually, a lot of the ingredients to make the solar panels come from Mongolia. To make the solar panels, they're very expensive. And plus, then you need batteries to generate and to host the power. Right? Going to no cash. European countries are putting everything on their phones, and that happens if you lose your phone. Exactly. That too. Solar panel, huge cost, and to dispose them. Actually, yes. And solar panels don't last hundreds of years. They have a certain time, and then they wear out. So there's a lot of implications to all of this, where they say this is the greenhouse or this is the green effect. Did you know that there is hardly any carbon from your car anymore? Your car doesn't run like it was in the 70s. In fact, it has almost zero emissions from your vehicle. Even diesel, where diesel used to blow out black smoke. You notice that diesel doesn't blow out black smoke anymore. It's because there is I can't remember. Anyways, and they use actually deer urine to wash, to go through and to cleanse it. And the whole bit. Somebody who works on diesel engines and that could probably explain that a lot better than me. This is where we have to look at, where is this story? Because we've been in this story. We've been in this movie, and I sort of mentioned it this morning during meditation. We've been in this movie for a while. And now we're coming to the bad parts of the movie. The bad parts when you look at the movie and you say, well, she should have known that was happening. Why was it? What was wrong with him? Didn't he see that coming? We're in that now. We're in that now where we are being shown the movie, or we're being coming into the bad parts. People have asked me, well, oh, this is just for 2021. No, we're in this for a while. We're in this, even beyond 2025. And even for next year, where things, and especially where Neptune is in Pisces, and where, and with Jupiter's great in Pisces, yet it kind of numbs us. It kind of gives us that numbingness where you sort of like are very complacent with what's going on. And it's not going to go into Aries until I'd say about 2025, because it has a little process, right? And the thing is, when we have this energy, with that, it comes into the numbiness. And Holly goes, well, I'm a Pisces. Yes, but there's other aspects. You're not just a Pisces, my dear. There's more to you than that. But Pisces is the last of the zodiac signs, okay? And so everything comes in, all of the different highways and dimensions all come into that 12th house. And the 12th house comes in, and there is the energy of the divine that is there also in the connection to the divine. And it's finding that groundedness, or finding that flow with it, which is important, without getting into the numbingness. And that's what you've been seeing a lot, where people are numbing themselves either through drugs, alcohol, or prescription drugs. That's, and that's very much when you get, when we're starting to get into the, especially with Neptune being in there, because Neptune is the ruler of that energy. And so this is where all my thoughts go. And then we find, especially with history with Neptune transit, especially where it is now, is in around 1858 is when, and we can use history, and especially down in we'll use American history. The Democrats didn't want to let go of slavery when Neptune was in Pisces. And Lincoln was trying to get voted in, and he wasn't. He still had a moral compass that he wanted to make a change and wanted to see things differently. And if you think about what is the slavery that they're trying to do now for people, and the slavery is the shot. And the slavery with the Democrats when they were in power was that of, bringing in the minorities being the slaves. And right now, a lot of the minorities don't have the shot, or aren't getting the shot, but the push is for them to get the shot. That's why they're talking about going door to door and going into communities and forcing shots upon people. So we have that. And so there's truth. The truth is still coming out. And with Pluto and Capricorn is bringing more truth, bringing more of that to the top, and more of it's coming to the top. Many people don't want to see it, or they don't want to hear it, or they don't want to believe it, because we've been indoctrinated for so many years of this is what you believe. The news comes on. You trust the news. You trust with what's coming in, because we're not going to tell you a lie, and we're not going to lead you down a garden path. But the light and the energy that's coming in is saying, look this isn't the garden path that you are to be on. This isn't the path. It is that illusion that it looks good, yet you're eating slugs and you're eating maggots and you're eating other things that aren't good for you, but they're packaging it up and making it look pretty, making it look beautiful. And that's the illusion. They're making it look like you come and you get this done, and we will feed you ice cream and give you beer and put your name in for a lottery, and you could win $1 million. If it's so fabulous for us, why aren't there debates? Why aren't there allowing other people to come in and say, okay, but what about this, this, and this, and this, this, and this? This is why Joe Rogan called an emergency, podcast, because he brings people on that nobody else is going to bring on. He brings them on, whether you like Joe Rogan or not. He's put on some really good people. And that's what, for him being on Spotify is absolutely fabulous, because if he was still on YouTube, he wouldn't be able to speak to the people that he's been speaking to and allowing for that to be broadcast. That's the thing, is that you got to look at other people who are saying things. Even with Russell Brand, for a lot of things that he says, it's like he can say so much where on his YouTube, but you got to go onto his Illuminary podcast to hear the in-depth conversations that are happening there, because there's so much censorship that's other in other places. And we're seeing it. And people ask me, why are you still on all these social medias? Because that's where the majority of people are. And I want to be a voice out there that can still get through to people, to have them awaken and look at things in a new way. We are now seeing a lot, and it's been coming up on TikTok and other social medias, where guys are going out on their boats and even their fishing boats, and they're taking pictures of all of these cargo ships that are sitting out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, waiting to dock, waiting to come in. And why can't they dock and the docks are empty? And they can't unload, and you're wondering why certain items are unable to get to the shelf, or you're unable to get certain things. So we're seeing these things, yet more of it's coming out, more of this truth is coming in. And this is where, when you see a yod, when you see this energy coming in, and yes, next week is going to be a real bumpy week, but we're going to be going through the bumpy week together. And we're going to be coming together more as a community and working with each other with this community, even if we're miles apart, because it's energy, it's spirit. When we have this energy that's coming in, it is really pointing out to us on saying, this is your dance. This is what you need to be doing. Are you stepping into the dance? Are you stepping into the flow? Are you going to start to make the decisions that you need to be making? And it is a little bit of chaos. There is, because there's chaos that's coming in, right? And there's chaotic. And so when you bring in chaos, and I said this was a year of Hecate, when you bring that chaos, and Hecate holds you to learn your lesson, or learn what you need to learn. She's going to pull you back. She's that mother and says, you didn't tie your shoes, did you? I told you need to tie your shoes before you go outside. And you'll say, well, I don't know how to tie your shoes. Well, here you go. Sit here until you can tie your shoes, because you're not going to the next step until you learn this step. And that's what she's doing. She's holding you accountable for what you are doing and how you are going forward. And we're going to be seeing this energy and the truth coming out. Pluto, once it moves into Aquarius, is a whole nother game. Anytime Pluto has been in Aquarius or within that energy, and of course we have not lived through that, but that has been where there is a lower population. So population gets very thinned out, and not many people are coming back to Earth. They're dying, and you're not seeing the replenishment. So when he goes there in 2023, he goes into Aquarius, retrogrades back into Capricorn, and 2024 is when he will be fully into Aquarius. So that's when you start seeing things, lower population, less babies being born. That's why you see a lot with the millennials and whatever generation after the millennials, and that you won't be seeing many of them having children. Hence, you get a lot of transgenders, the pans, the neutrals, and you won't see the children coming in. And is that an issue? Well, it might be an issue. For population. So we have this coming in, and this is where we need to be aware of. There is that energy of breaking away from the crown, breaking away from that energy. We notice when Lincoln did go in, that was when Jupiter was in Aries. So there is something new that comes in. There's a new energy that's coming forward. And even within Canada, and I feel, because whether you believe it or not, and you think that you have a word and you think that we have this and that, we're a Commonwealth country. We're owned by the Queen. Australia is owned by the Queen. There is a monarch that is our ruler. She is on our money. So whatever the dealing is, there is a hierarchy that is that sovereign, that ruler. So we also have where we may be having something to do with breaking away from the crown, to say we need to be standing on our own. So we're going to be seeing some really weird things come around to that and that energy there, because people are coming in and they're like, okay, we're ready to stand on. Even with First Nations saying we're ready to govern ourselves. And to govern ourselves, we have to come into our own sovereignty. And many nations are. And they're starting to stand up and say, no, we will create the currency that we need. We will create what we need to help our people and help to bring in the clean water, and even for medical and things along that line. So that's a whole nother gamut that I kind of like looked at, and I didn't really go down that rabbit hole totally and fully. But there is a energy that's coming in of renewal. But to get there, there's going to be a fight. To get there so that we are able to prosper and come into a renewal is going to be a fight. Having electric cars and solar energy is not going to help us. It's going to hinder us. When you think of, yes, electric cars and all of that, but where does the electricity come from? It comes from coal. Where does coal come from? It comes from mining. This is the back end. And there's many different grades of coal, but the biggest impact of coal does come from China. So we do have a lot that we have to awaken to, and that's where this energy comes in. It is asking you to start to take, to be proactive in your earth walk and how you are aligning within your earth walk. This is where that you walk with passion and you walk with your light, and you start to make choices. You start to make conscious choices on what you are buying and how you are buying it and what you are doing. And that's very important. And when you start to do that, you start to look at, okay, how can I make this world better? And it could be by little things. And, again, I'm going to go, I am not a gardener. I'm not a big, person. I do have a tomato plant this year. But I will go to the farmers market and support the farmers. I will go and I will support the Hutterites. Because they grow their own, or even for buying chickens and things like that. This is really coming in and looking at those types of things, whether you are single or in a family, of how you can actually begin to be self-sufficient in a very practical way. And where I've looked at things, and people say I want to go off grid, and I'm like, okay, to be off grid, still you still need, you're still not being fully environmentally friendly and being totally off grid. There's still a imprint upon the earth. Spring Valley Colony is my fave. Spring Valley. Ooh, I'll have to look that up. This is stepping into, and a lot of times, if you're wanting to live totally off the grid, That means you don't have solar panel and you start using environmentally what is around you and the resources that you do have. So that's, the implications of that. But one day maybe I'll live on my own island, and the only way you can get to my island is by boat at a certain tide. I'll live on my own island. Maybe I am an island, but these are things that are coming in, and these are things that people need to be aware of. Not a lot of people are going to talk about it, and not a lot of people are talking about it in the spiritual community, nor do they want to talk about it in the spiritual community because it's not spiritual. Being awakened and noticing what's going on is important. Drinking green juice does not make you spiritual. Being a vegetarian or a vegan does not make you a spiritual person. Okay? Wearing all white and going kumbaya does not make you spiritual. Coming in and making a practice every day, how are you coming out to the world? How are you being aware with what's going on? That's what's spiritual. That is what's spiritual. When somebody comes to me and says, oh, but you got to believe in angels in this way. Well, fuck off. No, you don't. I believe in unicorns, but my unicorns are pretty damn tough. And they come in and they're not, if you ever been by a horse, horses aren't like, they're beautiful animals, but it's not one that you're going to pick up and say, oh, little horsey. They're very strong and they're very proud. And they will help you and heal you. But yeah, they got a little bit of an ego too. This is understanding that in walking your walk, you're walking in your truth and you're being the uniqueness that who you are, and allowing for you to stand into that uniqueness and not worry what the fuck other people are saying or thinking. And the more people that are saying that they want solar, like I was thinking, I do this. I was thinking, yeah, it would be really cool to have solar panels on my house and having solar and doing all of that and being off, off the grid and putting the money into the grid. But then I was thinking, well, what happens to the solar panels after they don't work anymore, and the repair for those solar panels and the lithium batteries? So until they figure out something to do with the lithium batteries or a different form of battery of working that, or maybe having that solar energy going into the electricity in some way and enhancing it, even with wind power. When you see those windmills going out into the harbors, like in Norway and stuff like that, it looks great, but it is an environmental issue with that. And what it does to the birds, and it causes a vibrational sound with a lot of the fish and the dolphins and the whole bit. It throws off the migration of many animals. So these are things that, when they do certain studies, it's like, are they doing them fully, or are they doing them for the benefit of that corporation? Right? And it's like when you see, and here's another thing that really was pissing me off, is like the big thing that they made with Branson going into fucking space for 5 minutes. How many millions of dollars did that cost them? Plus there was a Virgin emblem at the bottom of the plane and saying, oh, look at this. I'm in space. I've been dreaming about this since I was a child. I had a lot of dreams like when I was a child. But what are you doing as an adult? Like he lobbied to get billions of dollars from the UK because of COVID, and they paid him because it was an implication to his company. But did that go to did that go to the workers? Did that help to enhance? He still laid off many people. Like, it just This is what's coming up. This is the information. And it's that, if you don't want to call it spiritual isn't putting your head up your ass and not paying attention. Being spiritual is that even when, if you want to talk about Jesus Christ, he went out, he talked to the people, he sat with the leopards, he sat with the people that you weren't supposed to sit with, and he communicated with them, and he communaled with them so that he could create community. And he understood that those in power, and even those of, the rabbis, were a bunch of dickheads. And they were just wanting to push up against those who could not push up. So this energy, going back, is having us to awaken. It's having us to start to pay attention. Watch a little bit of the news, but sit back and say, that seems like a little fishy to me, or that may sound so wonderful because they really fluff it up. There was a girl, I don't even know what her name was, who just did a huge thing at the White House, and she was paid, I don't know, something in the millions of dollars. Like, if I don't even know what she did as an actress, but anyways, it was a good propaganda of her talking about people getting the vaccine, and it was like she was reading. Awaken. When you see our prime minister go, yeah, look at me, I got the vaccine. Who the fuck does that after they get a shot in the arm? Like, what kind of drug are you on? This is where awareness has to come in, and we have to look at things. I don't have all the answers. I just see. And the more I see is the more I start to look at, okay, I need to make sure I buy a couple extra cans of this, or I get something extra of that. That's what I start to do. And it is us all standing within and allowing ourselves to stand in our power. I'm just going down on my notes. And yeah, will you feel the anxiety? Yes. If you're feeling the anxiety, look at, the things that nature has for you, the vervain, the ashwagandha, bringing in, your crystals. And so this is where you're going to you might find that there is going to be outbursts of anger coming out because people are getting frustrated. Connect with your nature. Write it out, journal it out. Try and get as grounded as you can. And it's amazing that the other thing I wanted to mention is the star Regulus, because the star Regulus has been in Leo for hundreds of years. And in 2012, it moved into Virgo. And if you've noticed that the decline in sort of Hollywood and the whole Oscars and the red carpet has slowly started to decrease since 2012, because Virgo is for the common people. It is of doing service. And Regulus is it's a fixed star, right? And so this is us looking at, because that fixed star is our star. It's our star. It's our true north. Looking at that, this is where we need to go, and how can we be of service within our own family, within our own community, and allowing ourselves to continue to shine our light and be the beautiful, scrumptious, wonderful beings that we are. So I had to, that's I'm coming off the soap box. With the energies right now, my guides are just sort of, they went and they took a seat to the side now, and they're just looking. So I'm going to send you guys out so much love, and really stand in your light. Be aware of what the hell's going on, and do the things that you need to do, and be your light, honestly, and do your due diligence. Some things we can't help, because we may need to buy these certain items, but just to be aware more and more of what we are consuming. And I keep on preaching that, because that is such an important thing for us to be doing and being aware of. So may the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you, and all that you say, and all that you be, and all that you do. Have a blessed day, everyone. It's Friday. It is Freya's day. It is the day of Venus. And Venus is having that. She's just off that yacht, actually. But it's coming into where, even within Mars, but she's still pointing at you and saying, look at your true value and step into your trueness of your intuition and your femininity. So have a blessed one, everybody. And we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.